point where the police are justified to take human life the way they did yesterday?
First, I sympathize with the families and relatives or friends of those ones who lost their lives yesterday. But it's so unfortunate that in the name of commemorating the loss of life in the previous year, we ended up losing more lives. I've organized demonstrations before, just like Malima has said, and Dr. Peter Mbaya knows that, since the days as a student leader. And I've also taken part in demonstrations during my days in the civil society. Although that is in the past part of my life, I know that there are several categories of people who take part in the demonstrations. And it takes upon the responsibility of those ones who are organizing to ensure that the demonstration achieves the objective and the goal of what they intended. In a nutshell, there are about 5 different categories of people in any demonstration. Those who are genuine, ready to organize and meet the objectives of what they intend. And then there are those ones, like now in the current scenario, we have politicians with the political interests. Like you saw some demonstrators making slogans that are associated with certain politicians, now drowning the whole idea about commemorating the deaths of those ones who were killed last year or who died last year. Then there is another category of people who are not that busy. So they see an activity taking place and then they join for fun or for enjoyment. Then there's another category of criminals. Criminals who take advantage and find an opportunity now to create mayhem, steal, rob, and commit crimes. And then in the modern society, now we have social media. Social media whereby people just sit on the keyboard and they do a lot of stuff there, writing things that are against the law and things that promote lawlessness and some objective things as well. So yesterday was unfortunate because not only the demonstrators were affected. You look at where the government is supposed to create a balance between Article 21 and other provisions of the Bill of Rights, because the government is duty-bound to protect the rights of every citizen. And then when you look at Article 40, it talks about right to private property. And the safety of that property is supposed to be safeguarded by the government. So at what point do we balance between the responsibilities of the government and the responsibilities of the demonstrators? And where the demonstrators fail in their responsibility to ensure that they uphold the peace, then the government is supposed to intervene to protect the rights of other citizens. We also the looting, we saw the damage, we saw even some people attack the police officers. You forget that inside that police uniform is a human being who is just like you. So the moment you attack someone who is doing his duty, who is going about protecting property or ensuring that there is security during the demonstrations, we are breaking the law. So our rights are not meant to also subject us to breakages of the law or lawlessness. Okay. Article 37 is provided for you to present petitions, to assemble freely, but your rights are also limited under Article 24 of the Constitution.
And as you say that, do you therefore, because my question was about police action, he has laid the blame squarely on the demonstrators. Do you think therefore in what you've quoted, Article 21, Article 40 and Article 37, that probably the police were ill-prepared to ensure that this article...
Based on what I observed, I think the police had good with this time round. In any case, I think I saw the IG having a press conference and saying that they are ready to us. And I think they meant it. But unfortunately, because of the other element I mentioned about criminality into the demonstrations, it created chaos. You saw some people beating up a police officer. You see, that's lawlessness. You saw some people robbing supermarkets. The police are duty-bound to protect that. And now in that melee, there are circumstances that arose that ended up making us...
in maintaining law and order,
yes,
our police, because it is purely their job to maintain law and order.
I believe this time around they really practiced a lot of restraint, given the circumstances. It was not easy because at the beginning of the demonstrations, I saw it was quite peaceful. But the moment looters started joining, chaotic scenes started coming up, and then people started talking about going to State House, for example, for what? I've seen Raila Odinga as the head of opposition, sometimes threatening that we are against, our elections have been stolen. Now at Uhuru Park, when people say we go, he changes the direction because he understands that our state is more important, the stability of our country is more important than lawlessness. So there's no way.
Raila himself has once called for people to march to State House.
But he has never implemented that. He has never moved towards that direction. Even while at Uhuru Park, he told, through press conference, they will say that. But once he gets to Uhuru Park, he knows what is supposed to be done. The safeguarding of the state is more important than any other thing, because this is the only country we have. And if you have a family squabble, you don't start shouting everywhere and fighting and destroying your own progress.
All right.
Yes.
Dr. Mbaye, what is your feeling about police action yesterday? The deaths reported, different sources say 8, 9, some even as high as 11. 11 deaths from police bullets. Is that better than what we saw last year?
Fred, allow me to say this is very unfortunate. It's very painful, extremely painful.